we're going to do the power rankings first, right now. So let's look at last week's power rankings. Ravens 1, Seahawks 2, Chiefs 3, Packers 4, Bills 5, Cardinals 6, Rams 7, Steelers 8, Patriots 9, Titans 10. Now, remember, these power rankings are a reflection of, one, who is doing the best at that moment, and it's also a little bit of who I think the most competitive teams are. So, because the Ravens are 1 last week and the Chiefs are 3, it doesn't necessarily mean that I think the Ravens are better. I think that it's closer to like how the BCS used to do their rankings in college football, where it's a bit of who the best teams are, but it's also a bit of what you've done so far. So like a 3-0 team, like the Bears, if the Bears were 6-0, even though I think the Bears suck, they'd have to be in the top 10. You know what I'm saying? So let's do this thing. The Chiefs are number 1. The Chiefs are number 1. The Chiefs are the best team in the NFL. Patrick Mahomes is the best quarterback in the NFL. That is not even up for debate. That is not a question. That's not a topic. That's not a question. It's not a nothing. It's not a hot take. It is a straight up fact. Chiefs are the best team. Andy Reid might be the best coach. Patrick Mahomes is the best quarterback. What they did to the Ravens on Monday night, and we'll get deep into this with our game breakdown, the Chiefs are so good because they know they're so good. When you watch the Chiefs and it's 3rd and 6, most other teams are like, man, shit, we're terrible on 3rd down. How do we pick this up? What do we do? And then there's the Chiefs who are like, we know we're going to pick this up. It's just how do we want to pick it up? I think they were like 11 for 13 on 3rd downs or something like that. Last night against the Ravens, there's like a little spider, like a little bitty spider that just dropped down, like on, I guess from the lamp or from this lamp over here, and it's kind of freaking me out, but it's also kind of not. It's like the smallest spider in the whole world, so I'm kind of watching it, making sure it just goes away. It looks like it's going to go away. It looks like it's going to go away, but it also looks like it might float onto the top of my head. All right, we're just going to forget it's there and hope it forgets we're there. Yeah, I think we're good. I think it's chilling. But the Chiefs are so damn good. Like, take it out. It's really small. I mean, it's really small. And it's kind of far away now. I'm going to keep my eye on it. And if it gets closer, I'm going to eliminate it. I'm going to snipe it. But if it stays where it's at, I'm pretty chill with it. It's like one of those ones that's kind of like clear almost. Like it's kind of like white, kind of clear. I mean, it looks like a flake of dust. I mean, it's really small. But the Chiefs just do it different. The Chiefs do it different. They can convert any 3rd down. They can convert any 4th down. They can convert any 2-point conversion. They can do anything they want. They can do anything they want. And every facet of the game is so dialed in. Mahomes, the wide receivers, Travis Kelce. I mean, if you told me the Chiefs have to rely on Kelce, kind of like how the Raiders relied on Darren Waller, I'd be like, well, okay. I mean, they could do it because he's so good. And Patrick Mahomes, I mean, how many throws did he make last night where it's like superhuman and he does it 3 or 4 times a game? Unbelievable stuff. And with Andy Reid, the play calling, I think the Chiefs are without a doubt the best team in the NFL. I would be absolutely stunned if they don't win the Super Bowl. Second best team in the NFL, I think it's the Seahawks. I don't understand the people who are like, even though the Ravens got beat last night, they're still the second best team in the NFL. I saw a sports media person, I'm trying to think who it was now, but I saw someone who was like, the crazy part is the Ravens are far and away the second best team in the NFL. And I'm like, have y'all seen the Seahawks play? I think the Seahawks are far and away better than the Ravens. The Ravens, look, here's the deal with the Ravens. If Lamar Jackson is not the MVP, now I've lost the spot. Now I've lost it. I'm not even sure what it is now. If Lamar Jackson is not the MVP, if he's not playing at an incredibly high level, I think the Ravens are pretty mediocre. And by mediocre, I mean like, the 6th, 7th best team in the NFL. They don't have big wins. They do not beat really good teams convincingly. They beat the Niners last year, but that was in a rainstorm. I think it was like 9-6. They didn't do well in the playoffs. So we haven't really seen this Ravens team be the Ravens against like the supreme elite competition. So I don't think that you can sit there and say the Ravens are obviously the second best team in the NFL. I think you can say they're a dangerous team. I think you can say they are a really good team. I think you can say they're a good, well-coached team. They have a good defense. But they're pretty limited with the idea that they only go as far as Lamar Jackson is going to take them. If Lamar Jackson has an off game like he did last night, they look pretty pedestrian. With that being said, they're still really good. But the Seahawks, I say it every week. I say it every single week, but this Seahawks team is the best offense Russell Wilson has ever had, and it's the best Russell Wilson is playing, and their defense is good too. Not good, but it's they have Jamal Adams. Like their defense is good enough. It's not the Legion of Boom, but with Jamal Adams they can make plays. The Seahawks are sweet. I mean, if we had a Seahawks KC Super Bowl, what's the over under? Like 75, 80? I mean, it's like a college game. So I'm saying that the Seahawks are the second best team in the NFL. Now we go down. Now there's a little bit of moving and shaking down here. There's a little bit of moving and shaking. So let's go to the third team in the NFL. So the Ravens, how far do they fall, right? We had them at 1. They get relatively blown out by the Chiefs. They made it close in the second half for a second there, and then got slapped up. But how far do they fall? Do they fall under Green Bay? Do they fall under Buffalo? I'm okay with saying right now, because of just how we do this on a week-by-week basis, I think it's okay to put Buffalo slightly under Green Bay. Now, I'm going to go ahead and tell you right now, I don't think Green Bay is better than Baltimore. I'm going to tell you right now, I don't think Green Bay is better than Baltimore, but given the power rankings, I'm okay with Green Bay being 3. The problem with Green Bay is that Green Bay has not played very good competition. They played a really bad Vikings team, one of the worst defenses. They played a really bad Lions team, one of the worst defenses. And they played the Saints, who right now have one of the worst defenses. So we've seen the Packers do really well against the bad defenses in the NFL. How they will do against some elite level competition, that's going to be interesting as well. Now, the reason I put Green Bay at 3 is because they went to New Orleans. They got a win on the road without Devontae Adams. So they had a much more uphill battle, and they handled it much better. They really controlled the game, and Rodgers is playing really well. So a lot of the times if you have a team like the Packers and they have an elite-level quarterback who's playing elite, I will usually go with that player. So put Rodgers up there because we don't even know their ceiling. If they were full strength, I think we would know much better about this team, but we don't know. We don't know if Adams comes back and they have another gear, then all of a sudden it's like, man, is this the best team in the NFL? If they're beating the Saints and they're beating teams like that without him, and he comes back and they start lighting it up, I don't know. I'm going to leave Baltimore at 4. So I think Baltimore has a few more positive things than the Bills, who I have at 5. And I think you still obviously would rather have Lamar Jackson than Josh Allen, but I think it's close. I've said this about the Bills before, where I'm waiting to see Josh Allen, how he progresses. And I don't think Josh Allen has got to his last evolution. They're 3-0. They've played 2 awful teams in the Jets and the Dolphins, and then almost blew a huge lead against the Rams. And then you talk about where they let the Jets come back in. The Jets, they were beating the Jets like a drum, and I think only beat the Jets by 10. So does Buffalo still have some kinks to work out as far as organizational structure, handling a lead, finishing a game out, things like that? Or is this a team that's very similar to Baltimore, where they need Josh Allen to be at an MVP level and to bail them out in these games? I mean, Josh Allen bailed them out, and a bad pass interference call bailed them out against Los Angeles. And that's on the road. That's at home. That's on the road for LA. That's a tough spot for LA. And Buffalo let them sneak back in. So it's hard for me to be like, yeah, Buffalo is better than Baltimore. So I'm going to leave Buffalo at 5. Now the Rams are going to fall off. The Rams will fall off. Let's see. Before I get ahead of myself, let's see. Do the Titans fall off? Titans barely won. I think they might. So the Titans are questionable. New England's not going to fall off. Pittsburgh, they played Houston, won by 7. They're not going to fall off. Arizona gets beat by the Lions. They're going to fall off, obviously. Okay, so number 6. Let's put some teams back in the mix. The Saints are... do I put the Saints back in the mix? All right, let's think who goes back in the mix here. So we have 4 spots that are open, basically. Or let's move the Patriots up. So the Patriots are 6th. The Patriots honestly might be the most dangerous team besides the Chiefs in the AFC. Because we know that they're so well coached. We know how organized they are. We know how dangerous it is to give Belichick time or prep or any of that stuff. And with Cam Newton playing how he's playing, I mean, this is a team who, if they play Buffalo, if New England played Buffalo in the playoffs, and you're telling Belichick he's just got to go stop Josh Allen, I have a lot of faith in Belichick to be able to do that. And then I have a lot of faith in Cam Newton to be able to make plays enough to win the game. I mean, New England has a great defense, great pass defense. New England could be scary. They are the surprise team this year, for sure. I mean, they are for sure the surprise team, because I don't think anybody thought Cam Newton was going to be this close to MVP Cam Newton. I think people thought he might be better. Like, I thought he may be better. I thought he may be better than he was last year as far as he's healthy, but he's still older. Like, what's he going to be like? Will he throw the ball like Drew Brees, or will he throw it more like Cam Newton? I didn't expect him to come out here and run the ball like he's running it. I didn't expect him to have such a grasp of the offense like he does. I mean, I could not be more impressed with New England. I could not be more impressed with Cam Newton. Like, let's see what he did last week. So let's see. Last week, Cam... So let's go to the box score. So last week, not great in the air at all. 9 carries, 27 yards. Really didn't do much. Really didn't do much at all. And that's saying something too. That's saying something too when Cam can have a bad game and the team still looks as good as they look. I mean, they still won by 16. You know, they won by 16 points, and Cam went 17 of 28 for 162 yards, a touchdown, a pick, which is terrible. 26.7 QBR. And then he only runs for 9 carries for 27 yards. I mean, that says a lot. You know, that's whenever you know you have a good team, because you have your defense to rely on or other players, and you just need players like Cam Newton to run the offense. Yeah, I think New England's scary, and they're only going to get better. They are only going to get better unless Cam gets hurt. So they're my 6. Steelers will be 7. I think the Steelers are a low-key scary team too. I think the Steelers are a really low-key scary team because for so long, Roethlisberger had to carry the team. For so long, it was like, well, you know, Big Ben's got to run around, got to take hits, got to 2-minute drives, whatever. And now he's just kind of fallen into that Peyton Manning role in Denver where, hey, man, just be the leader. Hey, man, just be smart. Hey, man, just manage the game. Don't screw this up for us. Let James Conner, let Juju, let your defense, let them do it. And that's what they're doing. I mean, they're back to Pittsburgh football where they're winning with their defense. TJ Watt, you talk about a star. TJ Watt has been disgusting. So this is a team that's going to go out there and say, look, we're going to get after the quarterback. We're going to pressure you. We're going to play defense. We're going to run the ball, and we have a quarterback that when we have to, when needed, can make the specific throws to get us where we got to be. Pittsburgh is really good. And for so long in my lifetime, Pittsburgh was a fill-in. Pittsburgh was like, okay, we'll go ahead and write them in for the playoffs. And I think people forgot about them. I think people forgot about Pittsburgh because of how Roethlisberger's been hurt. You know, they saw a whole lot of Duck Hodges, and they saw a whole lot of their. I feel like Pittsburgh went through like 6 or 7 quarterbacks just trying to, you know, patch up the team when Roethlisberger went down. But I think that all kind of led to the narrative of Pittsburgh is just irrelevant. And they're back, baby. They're back to being relevant. So I think the top 7 is pretty solid. Okay. So now we have to talk about who's going to be 8, 9, 10. And if we look down here at who cannot be in there, you're looking at like the Jets can't be in there, Washington can't be in there, the Texans can't be in there, Philly can't be in there, the Giants can't be in there. I mean, I guess the Rams could still be in the conversation. The Saints are in the conversation. The Bucks, I guess, are in the conversation. The Niners are in the conversation. Let me make sure. I guess the Titans are. The Titans are 3-0, so the Titans are in the conversation. It's just you go and you barely squeak one out against Minnesota. Let's make sure I'm not missing anyone here. The Bears are 3-0, but I'm not putting them in the conversation. I'll tell you that right now. I'll tell you that right now, ladies and gentlemen. All right. Okay, so we're going to put the Titans. We're going to put the Titans at 8. Titans are 3-0. Derrick Henry had a good game. Derrick Henry's coming back a little bit into the fold. Derrick Henry's coming a little bit more into the Derrick Henry we saw last year, a little bit more of the player we remember. So if that's the case, if that's what they can do and get back to that, then they deserve to be in the top 10. They certainly deserve to be in the top 10 right now, being 3-0. So we'll have them in the bottom half of the top 10. I think 8 is fine. So now we go to 9 and 10. So this is a lot of guessing with what these teams are going to be. I think all these teams are a bit underwhelming right now and a bit unknown. I think we can safely put LA back in there. Because the LA was in a really tough spot. LA was in a tough spot going across the country, playing early, playing in Buffalo against the Bills. They fought back. They were down big, came back. I still think McVay is a good enough of a coach, and Jared Goff is good enough when pressed that they can figure something out. So I'm still going to put them in here, even though they had a loss. I think they were at 7, right? So now they dropped to 9. Now the next thing I'm going to do is controversial yet brave. The next thing I'm going to do is very controversial yet brave. So I'm going to put the Niners back in here. I'm going to tell you why. I think Nick Mullins is not an upgrade over Jimmy Garoppolo, but I think he's pretty similar to Jimmy Garoppolo. Maybe better. I mean, I could argue that he's better. I'm not going to sit here and say he's definitively better, but I would listen to arguments about it. I would listen to that. And what do we know about Frisco right now? Why were they off the top 10? They're off the top 10 last week because of the injuries. And Garoppolo was one of the injuries. So if they're winning games while injured and we're moving forward and they're just going to get healthier and healthier. Now, there's some injuries they will have the whole year, like Bosa out the whole year. But if they're winning games and they're slowly getting healthier, I think we got to put them back in there. I mean, they went and handled the business. It's been one game. For Mullins, if you go back and look at Mullins from what he's done while he's played and what Garoppolo's done while he's played, they're very similar. I'm not saying Mullins is a top 10 quarterback. I'm not saying Mullins is a top 15 quarterback. Last week, we said Jimmy Garoppolo was the 25th best quarterback in the NFL. I think Mullins is somewhere between 25 and 27, somewhere in there. So if they're not missing anything at the quarterback position and they can slightly figure it out with other gaps, will the Niners be... Will they be the 5th best team? I highly doubt it. Without that defensive line and with some of the injuries and all that. But will they still be a perennial threat? Will they still be a very talented team that just suffered through some injuries? I think so. So this is my new top 10. Honorable of honorablest mentions are the Buccaneers. The Buccaneers are really close to getting in there. I still think the Bucs are super overrated. I still think I'll say something controversial yet brave again. As far as pure production, I'm not sure if there's a... Ooh, man, this is a hot take. I don't even know if I can say it. Can I even say a take this hot? If I say a take this hot, Shannon Sharp and Skip Bayless may appear in my studio. Do I even say it? I'm gonna say what I was thinking of. I was debating in my head with saying that pure production in one season, this season, there's probably not that big of a drop-off from Tom Brady to Nick Mullins. But I'm not ready to say that yet. Because Tom Brady is not the 25th best quarterback in the NFL. Like, Tom Brady's obviously higher than that. So if Tom Brady's a top 20 quarterback in the NFL, do I think Mullins is a top 20? Probably not. So I'm not ready to say that yet, but it's not that big of a drop. I'll say that. It's not that big of a drop, but it is a drop. So I almost got too hot take. You see, like, think about it, ladies and gentlemen. I'm giving you all this incredible information. And right there, I saw the clickbait. I saw the YouTube. I saw millions of dollars coming into my bank account. I saw, ESPN multi-year deals. I saw Fox Sports calling. I saw people, Monday Night Football commentator gigs. I saw all that happening with my YouTube video, why Nick Mullins is better than Tom Brady. And I turned all that down. For you just so that I could be correct. I mean, that you talk about ethics. You talk about the heart, the heart of 1,000 sons, is where I can take all that fame and fortune and the honeys. I can take all that and set it aside just for each and every one of you to have the correct information. So this is the new top 10. KC, Seattle, Green Bay, Baltimore, Buffalo, New England, Pittsburgh, Tennessee, the Rams, and the San Francisco 49ers. Honorable mention, a.k.a. the 11th team. I'm going to go with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. It's my 11th team. 12th team, probably the Cardinals. 13th team, probably the Saints. And then it's just a bunch of trash.